Hello and welcome to Slaydies Return, a tabletop roleplay podcast. My guest today is slaying all obstacles and challenges laid out before her, building community and embracing diversity from the eastern seaboard all the way to the Sword Coast and far beyond into the world of darkness. With faithful, yet sometimes disinterested Edlin by her side, she is ready to roll with the punches, even if they range from the critical to the bestial failures, along with sharing fables and goodwill to all. Always looking forward and not lost to antiquated, or should I say, antediluvian ways of thinking and judgments, my guest today shoots for the stars and guides our way there too. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome streamer, content creator, diversity advisor, and weapon, April Ray. April, welcome to the show.
Hi, hello. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you. That was an amazing intro.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's just your work read back to you, to be fair. So, you need to take all the credit here.
I have a much better way with words.
I have time and practice, I suppose, that's all. April, sort of before we go into some of the things I've alluded to there in the introduction, how did you get into tabletop role-playing games, please?
I have not been in the tabletop scene for as long as some people. It's only been a few years for me. I played some tabletop when I was younger, couldn't really get into it. I actually had moved to Atlanta and gone to a D&D meetup because I didn't really know a lot of people and thought, why not? It should be fun. The internet makes D&D look fun. And I met my friend Nikki Johnson, who is the co-founder of SlaydiesATL. And she kind of adopted me, taught me D&D, and was like, let's make more women in D&D. And we started Slaydies literally that same week. I think she was like working on the first ever charity event we did in Atlanta and like just dragged me behind her with her.
Wow, that's quite an introduction. So during that first meet, you sort of said you couldn't quite get into it when you were younger and sort of wanted to give it a go. What was your character? How did you get drawn in? What was it that really sort of caught your hook, line, and sinker?
I had always been kind of shown it D&D and tabletop is very serious and very like these drawn out backstories and things. And I met Nikki and I found people who it wasn't only seriousness. We had fun. We made jokes. We made these silly characters who had funny little voices and did like these little things like goblins. And I found my thing in TTRPG and in role playing that I like embraced, and that's what got me into it.
So, sort of building on there, and you sort of mentioned it straight away. SlaydiesATL sort of formed and became. So what was it like from going introduction straight into sort of introduction to production? I guess that's a big leap. Some people take, including myself, to be fair, take months, years, centuries to get into that.
Nikki had this really great idea, and when I'd first met her, she was planning the first charity event. Slaydies started as a charity event. It was a week-long event in Atlanta where we would encourage female DMs, non-binary DMs, pretty much anything but cis man to come play. You'd get discounted games, discounted drinks at bars. We'd raise money for all these charities, and she just presented it in this way. I'm like, I wanted to help. I wanted to make this dream a reality from day one. And that's what we did. We put a lot of tears and sweat into it, and it worked out.
So through your blood, sweat, and toil from that first sort of charity event, how has Slaydies grown, and what is your experience as being an integral part of that team, a founding member of that team? What has that experience been like for you?
It was supposed to always be an in-person event. It was supposed to be this thing where we brought people in the Atlanta community together. Then COVID hit literally a week before our second anniversary, our second in-person event.
Wow.
And we were crushed. We had put this huge storyline. We had bars lined up and had this whole like 12-hour bar crawl D&D event. And we decided to do what everyone else I think at that time did and like, let's do it online. Twitch looks simple. And that's what we did. We figured out a way to bring our players online. We reached out to everyone we knew. And we're very lucky to have people who also reached out to everyone they knew. And we put together our first online charity event, which was kind of like the launch of Slaydies, and decided to kind of keep it going.
So sort of keeping this going, and we will continue on this thread. But just so I can make sure we are able to support you, we'll sort of dip back into Slaydies in a second. Where can we find you and everything you're associated with online?
Oh, me? Me?
Yes, you in
I'm
particular.
April. You can find everywhere on the internet as April Raygun. That's what I do. Everything's there. It's I just have that one tag.
Well, that one you're being kind of modest. You have one tag. There's you're part of Slaydies, so there's you on Twitter, you on
Yes.
Instagram. There's Facebook, YouTube. What else have I found? Twitch, of course, as previously mentioned. Ko-fi for those that want to support you directly, and other avenue streams. I will put the links in the description below this podcast. Please scroll down.
I am very bad at selling myself, but if you want to check out SlaydiesATL is awesome. I have a lot of other people that you should totally support.
You've totally undersold yourself there, so I'm going to make sure I get a mention. So Slaydies, COVID hit, moved online, started to expand. What was it like expanding the Slaydies team? And are you still a core team, or are things in development for SlaydiesATL at the moment?
It was a lot developing it online. But we got to do something that we never thought we could do, and we now have people in our community from all over the world. We met all these new people. We got to play all these fun games and bring all these new players into our community and help kind of spread, and especially in that time, build something that felt caring and safe. And currently, we are in rebranding. We're in redevelopment. We are still a very small team. It's Nikki, I, and Meg. Meg was one of our original players. She kind of stepped in to do a lot of producing for us when it became a lot for Nikki and I, because we kind of started adding more games and more people and wanted to give more space to everyone. And now we're looking at the next steps and how to make SlaydiesATL more inclusive and more global.
And how are you doing? So you've thrown it out there. You've hooked me, and I want to know more. I want to. Give us that peek behind
there's going to be a bit
curtain.
of a name change.
Ooh.
We had this long talk. Slaydies is cool. I love the name. Don't get me wrong. But we're not just women in the group. And we want to support all of our friends who do not identify as a female or a she, her. Because that's not what our community is about. Our community is bringing everyone together who did not have a place before.
So will you still keep the ATL tag at the end?
Nope, that's going to be dropped as well, because we're not just in Atlanta anymore.
Where are you reaching out to? We have
people all over.
Where's the furthest you've reached out to? Where can we hear the voices of our community from?
So luckily, with our charity events, we've had people Australia, England.
Wow. Yeah.
Do stuff with us. We've had a player for one of our upcoming things that we've looked at. She's also in England.
It's very cryptic, which is ironically something you'll find in your Twitter handle, to be fair. Cryptid.
I can't give away too much. It'll ruin the rebranding.
Sorry. We'll leave that to one side at the moment, but we'll stick with the inclusivity and the diversity. So you get into back technically, but get into D&D from this form Slaydies. Where did becoming a born again player almost into a streamer, when did that turn into Diversity Advisor? When did you start sort of giving back in that respect to our community?
As part of Slaydies, it started with I didn't see enough women women non-binary players out there, and I would just start yelling about it, and then I realized there's not just women who are being neglected, and that we need more diversity in all these games, period. And I was seeing more and more tables come out, especially during COVID, that were just all cis white people. And I got to talking with some of my friends in different communities and groups, and they wanted help in kind of looking at it through a non-cis white person view. And so I kind of just started. If I yelled enough that we needed more diversity, that someone decided to listen to me.
No, well, you're part of the Gehenna Gaming team.
Yep.
So was that an opportunity that sort of spun out? How did you get involved with that team? Some may know Ravnos, make sure I pronounce it, from Twitter. So how did you get involved with Gehenna Gaming? Was that did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Was there a mutual meeting?
I actually know Ellie. Ellie helped out with some Slaydies stuff when we first started, and it was a really big um, help in getting us in the community, talking to people, and really helping us learn how to do things in the community and streaming
Amazing.
in general.
Hmm.
And through there, I met Ian Ravenos and their group Gehenna. I did some events with them, and it was at PAX last year that we were working together, and they asked me to join the team because we just clicked. We worked together really well. We had a lot of the same ideas of wanting to bring more diversity and to spotlight more things than just the especially in the horror and vampire time that wasn't just white and cis.
Yeah. So, for those that may not have made the connection, Ellie is the storyteller for ATL by Night.
Yes,
Fantastic person. I've had the pleasure to chat with her. Obviously, you have more interaction with her.
they're
Uh,
lovely.
they
I
are
love.
lovely. Yeah, absolutely. And so I keep going back to it because of the time frame you sort of built all this in, but you've gone from meet and greet to streamer, and now you're dipping into, or now an almost, frankly, in my mind, now an integral part of the world of darkness. What's it like moving from system to system and trying to understand the nuances and wanting to bring that diversity to all of us?
Um, I like trying new systems. I am the worst when you give a new system to because I also am the one who's like, I'll skim this. I'll figure it out as we go. Um, which kind of helps in the whole streaming world. I do a lot of things. We all in the streaming world, and I think in the podcast TTRPG world in the last 2 years had to learn everything very quickly,
Mm,
just as we did it. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm doing my best and learning as I go, just
mm.
making sure to try to not fail too hard or
Well, I would say you're definitely succeeding. I mean, you've moved on. No, moved on is the wrong way of phrasing it. You have appeared on other streams. You played Fables, and I'll make sure
yes.
I get the name right. Ampistrano.
Yes, Ampistrano. That's one of our newer ones, and I'm very excited.
Well, tell us more about it. Since I can see and I can hear your enthusiasm, your excitement for it. So sell it to me,
Ah,
please.
Ampistrano is written and created. It's a D&D 5e game by D&D Jordan Lee. If you don't know her, check her out. She's amazing, wonderful. She has done so much for the community and
Mm,
as far as charity work, just it blows my mind every day that I get to work with her.
mm,
Um, but she's made this world, and it's a it is a very fantasy-esque world. I play a fairy monk. I like to call her my monking fairy with and she's best friends with my friend Fair's character, Diodora and Aurea. And it is still new, but right now we're kind of traveling between learning about what things like crystals have in common and what these residents have that are different that you don't really see in D&D. You get to learn like, oh, gems have powers. You need to
mm.
use an amethyst gem for this spell or that. But in Ampistrano, those actually matter. And if you,
Okay.
like for a fairy, like my character, there's a certain gem that I touched and it drained out my abilities. I couldn't
Wow.
fairy anymore.
Wow.
And we're learning all these new cool things, and I'm very excited. It's only been a few episodes, so it's still kind of a mystery to me what's going on. We have to solve this big mystery in this university, and it's a lot of fun. We also
Yeah.
all just got familiars, and there's going to be problems.
Oh, do two questions. What is your familiar? And two, is there going to be one of those mythical familiar only episodes? Do we think one of those is coming up?
I'm just going to say there is, because if I say it enough, that the episode will happen.
Oh, that's
But so
amazing.
one of the cool things about My Fairy is we have created a new subclass. We're kind of basing it on the anime protagonist that kind of fails upwards. I kind of trip
Amazing.
over something and punch in the right place. But my ability when I use Flurry of Blows is I kind of blink out of existence into the veil, which
Mm,
is kind of our form of death. Like the fairies in this world kind of help escort people to the next world,
okay.
so, which is really cool. And
Mm.
so I kind of fade in and out. And so my familiar is a displacer kitten. So we both
Oh,
can blink in and
wow.
out in tandem around an opponent and just be pretty annoying.
That is amazing. That is amazing. What have you, what did, have you, what, see, I'm that in awe of it. I'm losing words. D- does your displacer kitten have a name?
So right now it's Kitty because I haven't decided what I'm waiting. As in real life, I wait till its personality shows it to me.
Okay.
And I
build that
want to get through
bond.
another battle or two with it before I really cement the name.
That's something for us to look forward to and listen to, or watch for sure. So with you mentioned fairy and all this content and excitement. So when you are building a character like you have done for Ampistrano or other sort of games you've run, where do you draw your inspirations from?
Um, it's kind of a joke that I think of something so ridiculous and I'm like, I'm gonna make that work. And that's how I get a character. The premise of my monkeying fairy was my idea was fairies are like an inch tall, and I wanted to be like 1 inch tall and still doing 1d6 damage. Like I wanted to go full like tiny Ant-Man. And that's where that gimmick came from. But then I've been a little bit more serious with some of them. Like for Fables, we got to not just play characters in the Fables universe, but to bring in other Fables from outside. And I really wanted to bring in some Korean folk tales.
Oh.
So my character is based on a Kimho, which is the Korean version of the nine-tailed fox. And Ravens, I think, is based on the Abeafo. So it's really cool that we got to bring in folk tales from not just the Fables mindscape, which was mostly just Eastern European.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's the flexibility and sort of diversity and inclusive. I mean, it touches all the bases of why I really wanted to get to chat with you, because you sort of knock it out the park or shoot it out the sky. I don't know. You're a ray gun, so shooting both barrels. No, that doesn't work either. It's a ray. I know what I mean. So, but yeah, no, you bring so much, and you're so creative, and just from chatting to you, you're so humble and so incredible that having this opportunity to chat with you and let the people that listen to my podcast and just anybody that will sort of follow you and enjoy the content you create, it's been such a privilege. So Slaydies is being rebranded, it's being rebuilt. Are you going to start re-energizing or resubmitting stuff onto your Instagram and YouTube? Are you rebuilding Twitch and all those sorts of things? You're really sort of kicking all of that back into a higher gear moving forward?
October is our 3-year anniversary. And so maybe you'll see something in October where we start coming back. I actually, not even joking, have a meeting with Nikki after this.
Oh, wow.
So it's happening. We're coming back soon. Nikki had a baby. There was and people were moving. And so that's kind of what delayed us a little bit. But we want to make sure that we're going to come back stronger and better. So we're going to take our time and make sure it's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. So between sort of the quieter period of Slaydies and the build up, which is coming, as you say, in October, you've been able to get out to a couple of conventions this year. In 2022, you managed to get to PAX Unplugged and Dragon Con. What was it like responsibly with masks and all that, because of the situation at the time? But what was it like getting back into the conferences and back into the conventions and interacting with people on a face-to-face pretty much sort of level?
Well, first off, I'm a big proponent of masks. Even at Dragon Con, masks all the time. I don't understand how people can still go out with masks sometimes. PAX, though, there's a difference for me for PAX and Dragon Con. Dragon Con was more of like a fun one. I didn't really tell anybody I was going. I just kind of showed up and ran into some friends, saw some cool costumes, and then went home because it's Atlanta and I can do that. PAX was a little bit different because it was also a little bit more my first real interaction with a lot of these people that I've been talking to and playing with for over about a year at this point in real life. And there was a lot of, you're so tall, or you have legs, because I've only seen like a 2-inch square in a box for the last year. And so that one it was a little surreal. It was a lot, because also had been locked away for 2 years at that point. But it's a lot of fun. I think my favorite part of it is just getting to see and interact with those people that you've been talking to, if you've built these bonds and relationships online with in real life. And it just, especially with some of them, just so seamless.
Yeah, no, amazing. I'm very jealous of being able to get to cons. I haven't had the opportunity or the good fortune to get to any yet, but that is the plan in the future to change, because I
Yay.
need to come and meet everybody because you're
You
fantastic.
should.
Oh, I hope to. I hope to. So between like Dragon Con and where we are now and moving on to Slaydies, the rebrand of Slaydies, I will keep correcting that. The rebrand and the relaunch happens. We've had some developments in certain TTRPGs. We saw the release of the announcement and the release of Spelljammer, and you said you wanted to play a Ooze character. Have you managed to do that yet?
Actually,
Oh.
it has been announced Scum and Villainy is the new game for North by Northwest this season. It's DM'd by Dimples and Dice.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing person. You don't know who he is, you should go check him out. Love him to death. We've put him through so much. We actually recorded our first season of North by Northwest where I play an ooze.
Ooh.
I just get to make little bubble sounds and be weird, and it's a lot of fun. I like playing non-humanoid creatures. I like being kobolds and oozes and just getting to not fit in a normal character.
No, that's fair enough. So, out of all of these unusual characters, should we play? You have played, should we say? Have you got a favorite? Because you've described some, your fairy, the ooze. Is there one you would say, this is my favorite at this moment in time? I love them all, but this one just sits and resonates with me just a little bit more.
I have characters that I love for so many different reasons. I played a kobold artificer that I love because I got to try to break so many rules. I love trying to find little ways to get my way within the rule set. I got to play a clerical otter in a Redwall game DM'd by Duval, which we told an amazing story, and I got to play a type of character I've never played before. My character in Hades High, Dusa, she was very awkward. I love her actually. She might be one of my favorites. She's kind of the one I always slip into when I'm trying to think of something really fast. Just a fast talker, little awkward person who accidentally freezes people. Oops. She was a Gorgon.
That explains.
It happens.
It's just it's not
It's
on
Gorgon
purpose.
things.
Yeah, it's fine. So between your work with Gehenna as a diversity advisor, your work with the rebrand and building up, and sort of appearing on other games and streams, do you get time for you? Do you get some downtime away from the screen, as it were?
Yeah, I've built it into my schedule. Between work, my human life, work, and streaming, I make sure to take some time for myself, because if not, I will burn out, and that's not fun for anyone involved.
So how is it do you have anything you have to relax? How do you sort of put yourself in that mind or lack of mindset, whatever? How do you
Hobbies?
switch up?
I play a lot of video games, which doesn't really take me away from a screen. But outside of that, I like to cross stitch. I stabbing something with a little needle 1,000 times is really, really relaxing.
Yeah, I can imagine. What your if you go through your Twitter feed, there is a number of feline familiars. Which, is that
Yes. I think I'm their familiar. They rule everything in the house. I cannot win. I outnumbered myself. But yes, there's Potato Chip. He's my oldest. He's Poe. And then there's the twins Lilith and Edelyn, who are my little monsters.
So, and they keep you busy. I imagine.
If you've ever watched Owl House, that's who they're named after. Is the sisters from Owl House.
Wow, there you go.
Just gonna plug that show because that show doesn't need to be canceled.
I can't promise to do much, but yeah, I can try. So being able to relax and be able to sort of look at, is there anything? And I realize there is a lot going into this rebranding and re-release of your sort of streaming content and shows and things like that. Is there anything beyond that you're excited for? Anything to do with your sort of diversity advisor stuff? Any other TTRPG projects you're sort of working on, or even stream games that are sort of just being discussed in the background?
Well, I mentioned Hades. That's with my friends the Chthonic kids, who funny enough got me to stay in TTRPGs when I was going through a hard time. And we kind of made this pact that we each have to run a game for each other. So
Okay.
Hades High School, Camp Half-Blood, Strixhaven After the Fall, our first three,
Mm-hmm.
Bully Table Goth, Thirstdraft Moth, and then me DMing. And now we are recording our fourth game together, Good Society. And that is a mess. If you want messy drama, that one's amazing and a lot of fun. I'm working on a couple other games and stuff with some friends that we're really excited about. Can't give too much away.
Of course. So, of the systems you have played or looked to play, because you mentioned you just sort of skim it and make it work, are there any systems that you haven't played that yet that you're like, ooh, I wouldn't mind having a shot at that one if a group, person X, would be available to run it? Are there any games out there that you're like, maybe I should give that a shot one day?
As I look at my shelf of books that I've never played, One Ring. I really want to play anything Lord of the Rings based because I'm a huge Tolkien nerd. Aliens. I really have been trying to find time to make that game work. There's a couple systems that I've been dying to try out that I'm going to try out soon. I have a Mork board game coming out that I can't tell you too much about. But I'm finally going to get to play that. And what's that game called? I forgot the game. Oh, well, I'll think of it later when this is done recording at like 3 a.m. and
email me or something. Yeah, I'll remember it.
I'll record me saying it. I'm like, can you please splice this in?
Splice it here. The joys of audio editing. It's great. Some fantastic game choices there, I have to say. A few. Alien is a personal favorite that I've mentioned a couple of times. So I may be able to help you out with that, but obviously that would be down to scheduling and all that sort of good stuff. As we spoke before we started recording, life schedules and time zones are the challenge of the modern day streamer, podcaster, TTRPG community person. So between, the real big bad. Yes, indeed. Scheduling. So between your various social media platforms, which we'll have a link down in the description below, and I was going somewhere with that question, and I looked at my notes and I looked away, and now it's gone. I'm going to rescan that.
Social media, we like it, we use it. Well, we use it.
Well, you're also available on Facebook, to be fair. I'm guessing that will get a refresh along with all the rest of the branding. Are you bringing on sort of a media designated person to help sort of a community manager almost? Or is
we are going to wait on stuff like that because we do not want to bring on people that we cannot pay.
That makes sense.
And we are very we want to pay people. If you're going to do stuff for us, if you're going to work with us, you deserve to be paid. If you're in our games, you deserve to be paid.
Oh, that's I sort of totally respect, and if I was in that situation to be able to pay out with respect, I commission artists when I can and when needed to, and I try and sort of make sure that I contribute somehow, but there are restrictions and things that impact each and every one of us, and as you say, we need to do right by those in the community, so we do right by the community in that respect. I've written a random note down here. Penguins. You went to the zoo. What's it like?
I love penguins so much.
I was looking through my notes. I was like, there was a question coming next. Penguins. Penguins? Yes, penguins. You are a big fan of penguins. How does that come about?
So first, I have to preface this: I hate birds. I don't care. Internet come for me. Birds are scary. They're mean. I've been attacked by chickens on far more occasions than I think a normal person should. I just don't trust birds, except for penguins. I love penguins. They got a little stubby little walk. I don't know. I just love them.
That is fair enough.
Sorry, that took me off.
No, that's fair. I threw out some random question. I'm glad you answered it, to be fair. Penguins. And
at that zoo, it's so weird because the penguins, they're inside and outside, but the fence, I'm 5'4", and the fence only comes like half to my chest. I'm like, you could take a penguin. I hope no one at that zoo hears me.
No,
there was a puffin that was real close to glass, and I was like, I can't run fast, but if I could, we'd have a problem right now.
Whoop, I will scoop that into my coat. Thank you very much.
You could reach it. It splashed us when it swam by.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I see your face. The listeners can't see your face. You're thinking about it.
I
You're
mean,
thinking about taking a trip to St. Louis to steal a penguin.
I'm approximately 6 foot. Age has probably shrunk me a little bit. I could probably reach. Anyway, right.
So I've already started plotting out how to do this, but we can work you in the plan. It'll work.
If all else fails, it's a good TTRPG adventure.
The Great Penguin Caper.
Yeah. I mean, we've had Honey Heist. We might as well sort of step it up. So why not? So we can also, going back to supporting, as well as sort of flying without... No, that doesn't work. The penguins. Swimming. We can also sort of find and come and join your Slaydies. I realize the name is changing, and I will keep reminding
That's totally
myself
cool. You can keep using it. I still use it too.
That's right. You have a Discord for the show and things like that. So what's it like having a community built around your show? Discord is a very popular. Most shows have a Discord community or are part of a subset or subsection of another network or whatever. So what's it like having a designated Discord server, and what can we find on the server if we were to scroll
It's
down
really
and join?
weird. It's really weird for people. I have always kind of been a kind of private person. And so when people are talking about shows or characters, I'm just like, how do you know that? Oh yeah, we put it on the internet. I have to be okay with you talking about it now. So it was a big thing for me to kind of get used to it. I'm still not the best at Discord. Real world stuff during the day usually takes me away from that. But it's a fun little place. There's a lot of cooking chats. We talk a lot about food and pets.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, well, if I can isolate the link, it will be down in the description below. Please go and follow these links. Support April. Support Slaydies. Support Gehenna Gaming. Support everything that April does, and we'll continue to do. At time of recording, you're amazing. On future listens, you'll still be amazing. So, hey.
I'm going to try my best, or at least a bit. I'm going to try.
So, your Twitter profile mentions cryptid. There's horror. Are you into... You mentioned Alien, Mortborg, both have sort of horror underlines. Is horror sort of your genre, and D&D is just another system you played? Do you lean into that more?
I first got back into TTRPGs because of Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, okay.
And I am a huge horror fan. I love scary movies. I watch I have Shudder, and I watch that far too often. And just getting to play in these horror worlds and doing these things like Alien and Morkborg, it's really cool to see how people integrate horror with a role-playing game in both a safe and fun way while still getting to feel that fear, which I think is a very delicate thing to do, especially when you're playing with people you've never met and you're just talking to a screen.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll stay with the horror theme because now I'm very intrigued, both on two fronts. One, with respect to your World of Darkness experience, is it more on the vampire side of things, or have you sort of spread? So more on the vampire.
I'm mostly vampire. I really would like to play more. I know Hunter. I've been checking out Hunter. Hunter's new book looks really cool. There's the Maid show that I forgot who's did it. I'm gonna feel so bad later. Mage looks so much fun. World of Darkness just looks really cool, and I like the kind of what's the word? Overarching
sort of narrative
lore that connects
the
everything.
Lore,
yeah.
So
I like a good lore.
Yeah, fair enough. Skim read the rules, dive in the lore. That's where it's at. So if that's all good. So if someone was to say, April, we need a coach read tonight. Ellie contacts you. April, we're doing a vignette for ATL by night. We need you to join the coach read just for a quick. Where does your vampire heart, inverted commas, because I guess that doesn't really work in the grand scheme of vampires. What's your sort of vampire of choice?
Oh, so it used to be a Ventru. I used to always go Ventru. We were the best. I like that. Last time I played vampire, I got to play a Tremere, and it was really cool because I also kind of again integrated some of the Korean folktale and lore of the Korean shamanism into my Tremere, and got to like take it to a whole different weird level. And I'm kind of into Tremere now. Like I like the weird little blood magic people.
That's all. You mentioned there sort of bringing your Korean roots and the folklore and things like that. So, how important has it been to sort of be able to share your own uh, heritage? I guess would be a fair term with both your local groups and now because you're a streamer and a popular streamer. Let's just be honest. Share that with a wider audience.
A lot of these games, and especially fantasy, it feels like it's based in a European view.
Hmm.
And I love it. I love Tolkien. I've already said that. I love all those weird fantasy things, but they are just predominantly Eastern European. And so to get to bring in some of my culture that I didn't see a lot when I was growing up, and especially in fantasy, sci-fi, and horror, it means a lot to me because I, for the longest time, didn't really get to show that off. Or people didn't. In the last few years, like K-pop and all that stuff has grown, and it's become far more accepted than X amount of years ago when I was a small child.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, with respect to obviously we can steer away from this if you want, but with respect to Korean folklore, you mentioned a few examples already. Do you have a personal favorite folk tale that sort of sits in the back of your mind or resonates with you from childhood, maybe?
So the one that I always got told that I 100% believed for the longest time was there is a rabbit on the moon making rice cakes. That is kind of a traditional story in a lot of Asian cultures, but to me, even as an adult, I still will look up and I'm like, there's a rabbit up there making rice cakes. I know it. I know it to be true. And that one's always stuck with me. I know it's not the most deep or like fairy tale-esque, but there's a rabbit up there.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the moon. I took a picture of it. There's a large moon out this evening here in the UK, and to me, looking at the moon, it always looks because of the way that the craters are like there's almost like a wolf or a werewolf sort of shape, sort of.
I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna send you the because there is a certain point where the moon, if you look at it, looks like a rabbit with a little mallet hitting rice cake.
Right, that's right. I'm writing that down. Rabbit, mallet, moon. Yes, please send that picture. I will. I might even.
It's in the fall. It's autumn around the time of the autumn festival and mooncakes. Actually, a big Korean Thanksgiving is coming up soon, and so it's a big deal. And you'll start to see them in the fall. Oh, little rabbit, little mallet.
Rabbit, moon, mallet. If this comes across as the right picture type, I might actually change the picture of this episode to that because that is awesome. I've underscored that to have a look at later.
Yay.
So, no, brilliant. So, I mean, we've gone well off topic from TTRPGs now, but that is amazing and something I'm going to look into. Yeah, please send me that picture. That'd be amazing, April. Thank you. So, not only do you advise on products, I found another note I was going to get to. You have backed certain things on Kickstarter. So, what projects have you seen on Kickstarter that you're excited for? One of them is Still Fleet.
Oh, that one's really fun. I actually backed a bunch that my friends are in that are coming up that none of the names I can remember all of a sudden because you asked me and I don't know anything. One big one that I'm excited is Die.
Okay.
The TTRPG system for Die. I got to play like a beta version of that a long time ago and it was so much fun. And the comic is, I love the comic. It's a really cool thing. Have you read Die?
I haven't. That's another note I'm making.
Kieran Gilliam wrote it, and it's a group of friends go to play like a D&D-esque type game, and they each have a dice from like the dice set, and the dice kind of transport them into this other world where they now have powers based kind of on their characters.
Right.
And it's kind of dark. It's very dark.
Dark.
So
it sits with your theme. That's fine.
Yeah. And there's a character class that's like the God Caller, where you literally like make deals with gods to get powers and then have to do their bidding in game, or else they like start stealing your powers from you back.
Wow.
And I think it's a kind of cool play on like the cleric or paladin role.
Yeah.
Where in a lot of these games you just like, I played a cleric and I was like, my powers are from here. Yep. We're just not going to ever talk about it again. But in that one, like, You have to literally talk to them or
Yeah.
else they take it away.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
think it's kind of cool to see that built into a system.
DIE or DI
Yep.
or
DIE.
IE?
And the
Noted.
comic, I think the comic's finished now. So you can read the whole thing. It's a really cool comic.
Dark comic underlined. See, this is why I don't do the interviews to sort of do anything else but learn about cool things from cool people like you. This is amazing. So thank you once again. Yeah,
You'll have to let me know how you like it.
I will definitely for sure. We have touched on some very random subjects that I never thought I was going to get to in an interview, but we've spoken about a lot, April. Is there anything we haven't spoken about yet in this interview that you want to bring up towards the end?
I don't know. We have talked about a lot of things, and now my brain is like in 1,000 different directions.
That's why I have a notepad and I scribble everything down.
Oh, it's a good notepad. I have a pen. I've literally had a pen in my hand, but I have nothing to write on. So literally, this pen is useless.
Just keeps the hands moving. That's all.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's for. It's there. But yeah, is there anything that you want to bring up just at the end?
Sorry, I'm trying to think.
That's all right. So we've discussed the rebrand and redevelopment, your work with Gehenna Gaming, diversity in TTRPGs in general, systems you're interested in, systems you backed, rabbits with mallets on the moon, penguins. We've been everywhere.
We've talked about a lot. It makes sense where my brain has like short circuited to 1,000 directions. If you just keep giving me more time, I'm just going to start talking about other awesome people that I think everyone should know about.
Please, I tell you what, let's do that at this point in time. Before we ask where we can find you again, I want to know about other people that we should be following. People that I can put a Twitter handle in the description below.
Okay, I got this. So tonight's no one knows what night we're doing this. I've mentioned like Dimples
at time of recording.
Dimples and Dice. Check him out. He's awesome. Miss Petty Dreadful, SS Ambrose. Oh God, I threw my pen. Wreck-It Raven. Duval, I've talked about him. Follow any of the Cathonic kids. Vin Vox, Carrying Comfort, Wes Franks, Bully Table Goth. Who else? D&D Jordan Lee. Fairbear. Everyone part of Ampistrano is amazing and I love them. They're so good. Oh, Robo Goblin. Follow TTRPG Gifts. Robo's probably one of the best of us.
Yeah.
There's so many people. Nalawu, Jay, Gremlin, hire Gremlin art. They are amazing. They have done art for. I don't know why I'm like yelling at. I'm like pointing at the camera. No one can see me but you. And I'm sorry.
I'm taking that as passion. And Gremlins art. I've scrolled through because I was looking through your Twitter and the artwork they've done. Yes, incredible artist.
I'm going to turn this now into a plug for Gremlin. If you want an artist who could take 3 sentences of incoherent garbage and make a character that almost makes you cry without any notes, get Gremlin. I don't know how she's made art from some of the things I've given her, and then she gives me this art back that's exactly what I wanted, even more so than I knew, and I've literally cried.
It's incredible that you can sell someone else far better than you sell yourself. But I definitely agree that the artwork that Gremlin does and has done is incredible. So why don't we, because I will put links to as many as those of those great content creators. I will include a link to Ellie
I'm going to feel
Collins
so bad because someone's going to be mad at me. Happy Capster, Maria!
There we go. Ellie Collins and ATL by Night, which will big up the Atlanta team as well. So where, April, as we sort of draw this to a close, where can we find you and everything you're associated with, please?
You can find me everywhere as April Raygun. Everything, my socials are linked to that. And on my Twitter is my link tree, which has links to everything I'm part of. Twitter's usually the best place because that's where I'm going to post everything I'm in. I'm very bad at Instagram. I post silly things when I remember it exists. I don't TikTok. I don't understand it. I have one. People send me things on it and I forget that it exists. Don't send me things on TikTok. I'll never check it.
Noted.
Yeah, Twitter's the best way.
Yes. That is, well, I will make sure that there is a link down to Twitter, to your Twitter in the description below this podcast. Please scroll down, support April, support everything that Slaydies are doing, and those amazing content creators we've just mentioned in a very quick list. So I may slow that audio down just a little bit to help the listener out. April, it's been such a pleasure. It's been real fun having this chat with you today, and I'd love to get you back in the future. It'd be for an updated interview or a one shot or any combination of things. Any way I can support you in that respect.
I would love to play with you. I have followed you for a while too, so let's play a game together.
Let's do it. We will sort that out after this interview. Amazing. So, yeah, thank you so much, April, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to learn more about the show, then go to www.snydersreturn.squarespace.com. Alternatively, you can find us over on Twitter @ReturnSnyder. We have a Linktree link in the description of this episode. And if you want to support us, come and join us over on Patreon. And we also have a Discord server. Please leave us a review because we'd love to learn how to improve the channel and provide better content out for those who are listening. Until we speak again, thank you.